Hello, I'm Joy and I'm interviewing the most wonderful woman. Her name is Philippa Poole, and Philippa is the granddaughter of the legendary Ethel Turner, who wrote Seven Little Australians. And we have just had the most amazing weekend at Philippa's property. It's just been amazing because we've had all the Seven Little Australian people in the crew and their families and all sorts of wonderful people here reminiscing about that time. Philippa, what a lot of work you've done.
I never say I work with Ethel Turner, I
Really?
play.
Yeah.
Anything to do with her memories and her life, I always tell people I just love to play.
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
because that's how I feel about it all.
But it's a tremendous thing done, and must have been a lot of time spent on gathering it all together and putting it, making such a beautiful memorabilia exhibition out of it. That's what it is, isn't it?
Joy, yes, but I'm so lucky because we've had quite a number of exhibitions over the years, and after them, first of all, somebody comes up here, whoever is having the exhibition, looks at the material that I have, and then they select what would be suitable for their particular gallery space.
So they don't take it all.
So they don't. Oh no! This is the tip of the iceberg. What you've seen, but they select what they're interested in, and so at the end of the exhibition, they often say to me, "Look, we've had this picture blown up for you. For instance, that huge one of Judy was blown up by the National Library in Canberra. It was a tiny little picture this size, and now it's life size." And they say to me afterwards, "We don't need these, would you like them?" So I pop them in a cupboard and they say, "Here's the caption." So there we are.
Now, Philippa has asked me to welcome you all here today to Dellawong. It is of course a very auspicious occasion. We're so thrilled to have so many of the cast with us, their family and friends, and it's made it a very special day.
But I do feel that my grandmother has left behind an amazing wealth of material, and I just feel that I am fortunate enough to have it, and therefore I want to share it with people while I can, because one day it must go ultimately to the Mitchell Library where it will be safe. And that's where last year the original manuscript went. Well, so we're going to start with The Little General.
The show for me is this very distant glimmer of a memory, really. There are fleeting glimpses I have of Elizabeth. I have a photo of myself and Elizabeth that I've tried to explain to my children for a couple of years now. But they don't really understand, and that's all right, because we'll be able to watch the DVD now. Does anyone else remember all their lines from the show? I do.
Okay, so I'm talking here, so I'm Baby. It's a while ago now. I didn't have any sort of acting background or anything when I got involved. Our neighbour used to work for the ABC and said to my mum, "Why don't you take the girls along for some auditions?" And they're auditioning for Seven Little Australians. And my mum thought, "Oh yeah, why not?" So we went along for an audition, and amazingly enough, to everyone's shock, got the part. So I was just plucked out of suburbia and put into this experience. But I have wonderful memories of it.
I use the character names Judy and Pip, seeming so big. When I was talking to Mark before, we were trying to work out how old we were. And Mark's actually only 2 years older than me. But when I was doing Seven Little Australians, I realised as I was talking to him that I did actually have a major crush on him. And I was 12 years old, and he just seemed so grown. I know. Well, I was only 12. But yeah. So anyway, I think next is young Pip. So, well, I've confessed now, Mark. So. And now you're way too young for me.
Nobody tells you that they've got a crush on you until 31 years later. That's what I find as a rule. Because I used to have a crush on Elizabeth Alexander, now we're all being honest. And I actually stole a kiss, of which I just reminded her. Bunty and I were talking down at Lanyon, towards the end of filming, and I said, I've got a crush on Elizabeth. He said, well, why don't you give her a kiss? I said, right, I probably will. So I went on some pretext. I said, could I have a kiss? And dutifully Elizabeth went, but I got one on the lips. And then ran away giggling.
Look, it's a thrill to be here. I was so excited when Philippa called me, and we've had numerous conversations over the past few weeks. 31 years ago. It's such a long time ago, and I do remember the day that I was at NIDA when Seven Little Australians, not to my knowledge, was being cast, and I noticed in the background of the studio, because I was at NIDA in those days, you shot certain scenes to learn a little bit about television, which I actually learned zilch, I can tell you, but I don't know if Ron was in the back of the studio, but I know Charlie Russell was in the back of the studio, and every time I came on to do this, I think I was playing Judy Morris, whatever her character's name was, and I remember Charlie standing in the back of the studio and talking to someone, and then came up to me and had a little bit of a chat to me. Charlie was the exec producer on Seven Little Australians, and the next day he was there again, and he was just chatting away, and then he said to me, would you like a lift back to the city? I thought, oh dear.
Astonished at the extraordinarily good memories that everybody has of the time that we spent on Seven Little Australians. I can't say that I carry quite that level of memory or have the ability to express it in the way that people have expressed it this afternoon. So I'm going to be extremely brief and take the role of thanking Philippa and Adrian on behalf of us all, both the cast and the crew who are here, families and friends, to say thank you very much for having us at your place. It's wonderful to be here, and I'm sure we're all going to enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Anyway, it's nice to meet all of you again after all these years. The magic still continues. I always felt that Ethel Turner was looking over our shoulders, and I'm sure she is today.
Ron, you hold the microphone up.
I'm sure Ethel would be saying, I'm very proud of my family, who they are today. I'm very proud of my television family. And indeed, listening to all of you speak, I think you've all developed into really fine, wonderful young people. And very proud to have worked with you, and very proud to have seen how you've all developed and how you've all contributed to our growing industry.
And I've got to apologise to you too, on behalf of myself and Dan, for always taking the mickey out of you and your famous laughter. So I think we all remember that, and it was such a happy film to work on.
It's a locations manager on Seven Little A's. And it was
Hello there. I'm talking to Bruce Smeaton, who is one of the, if not the, top Australian composer. Bruce, you did Seven Little Australians, and everybody knows about the music, the beautiful music you wrote for that. But tell us about some of the other things you've done. You've written music for movies, for TV shows, for commercials, you've written jingles, you've written everything you can imagine. So what's your favourite thing of all, besides Seven Little Australians? What's the best thing?
What's your favourite child?
It's hard to say, isn't it? So it's like
I like
that.
them all for,
it's like
yes.
that, for different reasons.
Yes.
Fair enough, okay. What about some of the movies? What movies have you done?
I've done 91 projects.
91?
Yes.
Wow.
Some of them that you might remember are Cars at Paris.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Picnic at Hanging Rock.
Oh, yes, yes.
Chant of Jimmy Blacksmith. Devil's Playground.
Great.
Down Like Alice.
Yeah.
Patrol Boat. Roxanne.
Wow, that's American one. The others are all Australians.
Yes, Plenty,
Yes.
Elaney.
These are also American, are they?
Yes, they. I've worked mainly. I've never worked in Sydney.
Really?
No, being a Melbourne boy,
Yeah.
I know how Melbourne works, and I know how the studios work and the musicians.
Yeah.
When I worked overseas, I was largely controlled by where the filmmakers wanted to do it, so particularly the post-production.
Right.
So that usually boiled down to Los Angeles, London,
Yeah.
occasionally New York,
Yes.
and once Mexico City.
Wow. So you've had quite an illustrious career, Bruce.
Oh, gleaming.
Yeah. I am in the homestead of the Poole clan. I think we can call you a clan, Adrian, or a dynasty, or whatever. You've got so many in the family, and this is just the most amazing place. It's called Dellawong. And Dellawong is, how big is Dellawong?
About 3,500 acres.
My cup of tea, getting to know you, getting to feel free and easy.
A question that a lot of people ask me is, did you know your grandmother well? And I'm happy to say I thought I knew her very well, because I knew her from the day I was born until I was 24 and came to live in the country. And as we only lived 5 minutes walk away from her, and I'll show you a picture in my sewing room above her old desk, and it was overlooking Chinaman's Beach, and she was on one point and we were on another, and she could see our house, so you can see how close we were.
Thank you.